Hi guys, I'm really sorry about that little delay. I have been just trying to get Facebook streaming working and I don't know, it's just defeated me. But so I'm live on YouTube and Instagram and Twitch, and hello, it's really lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's been quite a mixed day. It's beautifully sunny here and there have been as always, some happy things and some sad things going on, so I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you for joining me, and I'll give you a little look around. So if you're in the chat, please do say hello. I am monitoring the chat on YouTube and on Twitch and on Instagram. So if you're watching Instagram, I can see. And if you're watching on YouTube, I think YouTube and Twitch, I can catch you. So, oh, hello, it's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining, Miss Farida Fred. I'm going to be doing a ridiculous challenge today. So here we've got, I'll show you on, this is my drawing board. Let's move it over. Okay, so I've got a camera on my drawing board, so you can see that here. And I can tweak it around a little bit. So I've got all sorts of kit ready. So I've got a few bits of Linocut to show you. I'm going to be got some cutting tools, and I've got some rollers and things. Put this microphone on, and so we're going to have a little bit of a French theme today. Let me turn that music down. Let me know if in the chat if the music is okay. So I've got my cutting area here, and then I've also got a camera on the inking up area here. So I've got some inks there and a bit of Linocut. So this is lino. This is synthetic lino, so it's blue. And I've got some bits and tissues and things, and some pieces of paper for stirring. So that's that. I've also got a few examples to show you. So these are just scrolling through. I'm just going to show you some things that have been printed using the techniques that I'm going to be showing you today. So there's one of Temple Meads, and there's some Christmas cards. So it's really easy to use these techniques for all sorts of applications. So I'm such a huge fan of Linocut. So I thought it would be really good fun to do something together and hopefully try and persuade you that it's not that difficult and you can do it on your kitchen table. So let me just introduce you to some of the tools and the ink. So I'll go here. So I have, so I've got various inks. I tend to use Aqua inks these days. They are water-based, which I really like. And if you're watching, by the way, if you're watching on Instagram, you might find it easier to go to YouTube. The address is right just down, let me see, down there. And that way you can see a bit more. I've got my drawing board and my face, but I'll try and swap around so it works for you. So please put in the chat if you've got any ideas of anything that I could do as a subject. So I've got, I've done all sorts of little ones. I'm just going to do a little one, just really to show you the technique. I've got some coloured pens, so I was going to do a bit of planning out. And some cutting. So here we go. So I've got my Stanley knife to do a bit of cutting. I've got some lino cutting tools. So really what I need is some ideas, and so I'm just looking for any suggestions about what I could use as my subject. And then what I was going to do is use a piece of paper and plan it out very briefly. So I'll show you how I plan a Linocut, and then I will take you through the all right, okay, so Paul has I think hopefully you can see on Instagram. So hello Paul, it's lovely to see you. I'm almost tempted to relent and say I'll do a train, but Oh, a penguin, okay. A Japanese pagoda. Gosh, that's a good idea. Wow, yeah, so I'd have to find a quick picture of a Japanese pagoda. So, okay, that's nice. I'm thinking of also of the colours that I've got. So I've got a nice orange, and I've got a pink, a brown, got a very nice turquoise. Do you think they would have had a penguin? Now, a penguin could be very good because that's got nice black and white, and we've also got the water. So I wonder if I could do a picture of a penguin with some water. Okay, keep them coming. So just looking for ideas, and I will talk you now through the process. Let me just take you to my drawing board, to my cutting area. Okay, so basically what I've got is two, I'll show you, I'll just zoom down a little bit so you can see closer. There we are. Right, so this is a glass desk, and glass is really great for Linocut because you can actually ink on it. So you can. I'm going to be using my rollers on here, so I'm going to be inking up on this same surface. So you'll be able to see. If I move up a bit, and you'll see that I'm going to be inking here and printing here. So I'll show you registration, how that works. And right, any more suggestions? So we've got a pagoda and a penguin. Please let me know if you've got any other thoughts. I think, Paul, you're watching on YouTube, aren't you? So if anyone comments there. Anyone in Instagram got any ideas? What you would like? Okay, so I think I'm going to have a quick look then on the internet and see if I've got a gorgeous flash of red or yellow beak. Yeah, they have. Okay, you're making a good case for a penguin. Let me just see if I can find on my tablet. I'll just find a reference photo for a penguin then. I think you might have won me over. Let's see. Bring up my. I'm going to leave while I do that. I'm going to have some examples running through so you can look at those and see. So these are all Linocuts that I've done with this same technique. So they're basically two blocks. There'll be a black block and a coloured block, and sometimes like this one here. So that sometimes I cut the coloured blocks up. Right, I'm just going to have a look. Penguin. So I'm going to use as a vague reference. I'm going to use a penguin picture from the internet. But I won't be showing it on screen. I'm just looking for one. Oh yes, they do. Yeah, they do have, you're right. They've got the lovely flashes of yellow and red. You're really going to challenge me there. Okay. Right. Okay. So I've got a picture that I'm going to use. So penguin it is. Well done. Well done, Falcon, if that was you. And come and say hello. Right, so here we go. So I'm going to go on here and show you the planning process now. Right, there we are. Hope you can see that all right. Let's see if I can just move this over and focus it a little bit more. There we go. Right, can you see that? Lovely. Right, so I start by, I'm going to do a little sketch. So I've got, this is the shape of my block. I'm just going to use really small blocks. And I'm wondering, I've got a really lovely picture of a penguin, like a penguin family. So there's a little baby penguin in the middle. What do you think? Baby penguin here. I'll zoom in on my drawing board. There we go. So there's a baby penguin there, and then there's a really nice, there's a great suggestion, thank you. Why did I ever doubt for a second? Okay, there's another penguin here leaning over, So this lovely, oh, is it true that penguins, do they mate for life, or did I imagine that? Okay, we've got the lovely family group here. And then the other thing I really like about this is we've got some nice blue going on in the background. So I'm thinking straight away that I can cut this into 2 blocks. So I'm going to do one, so I'm going to do black. I have to simplify it a bit. I'm going to do black for the back of the penguin and that bit there, colour in the black bits. So this is why Linocut is such a great, it's a great thing to do when you're learning, because it's, even if you don't actually do the cutting, it allows you to practice distilling an image into light and dark. So right. And also, the other good thing about this, you are really clever, is that because this baby penguin is fluffy, I can do some texture on there. So I'll cut a bit of texture in that. And then there's this one here. There we go, okay. Right, so that's planned out very, very simply, the black areas, and then I will, so in my photo I've got some really lovely icy blue here, and I think this is a really good chance to show a sort of gradient. So when I ink this up, I'll go, hopefully if I've got time, I'll go from a sort of darker colour down to a lighter colour at the bottom. Okay, and then so we've got that, and then I need to plan out these little flashes of orange. So let's put them in. Now I can't, if I'm grading, so what I really want, a bit of orange there. This is going to be rather crude, a bit of orange there, and then go towards yellow. So I have got oranges and yellows. It's good. And then this could be yellow here. Okay. Right. So it's going to be quite fiddly to cut. So one of the blocks is going to be the colour block. And that will have basically the, I will cut it along here like that, and I will ink this one. Oh, they are! Oh, that's cool! So penguins are monogamous, how nice. Right, yeah, I will then cut the coloured block into two, one to ink in blue and one to ink in yellow. And to prove how this works, I'm going to show you this block that I used. So this was a block for cutting a picture of the downs, so of the bridge. I don't know if you can see it there. And when I cycle through the reference photos, or if you have a look on my website, you'll see I've got a print. In fact, I haven't editioned this. It's quite fiddly to print this one, but basically this is one. I've got the black block, I can't lay my hands on that right now, and then this is inked up in blue for the sky, and then I ink this bit up in green and this bit up in a different blue for the water. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. So I'll be using a Stanley knife, I'll be using normal Linocut tools. This is very small, so it's going to be quite gestural. I'm almost wondering, I think actually I might can, just in the interests of space, I'm going to can one of these penguins, sorry, because it's just so small. Oh, I don't know, maybe I can do it. Okay, right, I'm going to do it. So, next step is to plan and cut this, this first block. So I'm doing the black block first because that will work as a sort of a key block, so that will tell me. Right, let me just say a quick hello and have my cup of tea and say cheers. I wonder if you've got a cup of tea with you as well. Right, and in fact, I think that the Instagram stream may not be working either, and if that's the case, then I don't need to worry about making it visible. Oh yes, it is working. It is. Okay. Oh, hi Sarah. It's lovely to see you. Thanks so much for joining. I don't know if you're still on. I've just been doing a bit of planning, so I will just take you to the drawing board for a second to show you. This is the plan. So Phoenix has suggested a penguin, and I've been looking at doing a family group. So as you can see, I've got a really small piece of lino, so I'm going to have to put my glasses on to cut it. But I'm up for a challenge, so I'm going to get the Sharpie. Oh, fantastic! Thanks, Tasha. It's lovely to see you. Thank you. Let me just come and say hello. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks for commenting. So I can't see Facebook, unfortunately. But if you want to go onto YouTube, then you'll be able to see a bit more of the drawing board. But I'm going to be swapping around anyway. Okay, so let's go back to the drawing board. Quite literally. Oh, never thought I'd need to say that. Right, and in fact, I'm just going to give you a sense of where we're going with this very briefly. By moving over here. So what I'm going to be doing for this penguin drawing, Linocut, is I've got 2 lino blocks here, and I've got some masking tape, which is basically just for registration. So when I'm printing, I'm going to print one block, the black, which might be called the key block. So sorry about that camera going a bit haywire. So that will be this one, and I will line it up here. And then I'll swap it over, and I can ram that one down into this like little bit of, it's actually a bit of masking tape that I've built up there. So it means that I can make sure that these two, because they're the same size, they'll be perfectly on top of each other. And then when I'm printing, I'm just going to print on printer paper. I'm actually going to tape my print there and lift it up like that. So the tricky bit basically is converting the image from one block to the other for aligning, and to do that I should have really had a piece of tracing paper. So, but yeah, never mind. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the drawing board to start cutting. Well, first of all, I'll start drawing. Right. Okay, so do a bit of squinting as usual. I will move that in a little bit more. There we are, so you can hopefully see better. It's just a couple of pieces of synthetic lino, which I had kicking around, and I find this, it's really soft to cut, whereas if you use traditional lino, you need to really warm it up to cut it. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm just kind of marking out the black block. I'm going to do it very like starting pencil, and then I'm going to use, I wonder if that would, what do you think, guys? Portrait or landscape? Yeah, I think I'm going to do it landscape. No, landscape. Right, here we go. So we've got this baby penguin in the middle, who is really the story, with a face like that. I'm just marking out really where their faces will be. 1, 2. Can I bring that down a little bit? Okay, right. So I'm going to commit to the baby penguin's face shape. I think they are really cute. Okay. Yeah. Right. Now, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, I think I've got my alerts set up now. So I think Paul, you're probably subscribed anyway, but I think if someone subscribes, I should now get a message, and something might even pop up on the screen. Wouldn't that be cool? Okay, so there we go. There's baby penguins kind of boundaries. Right, and then so baby penguin is going to be a bit furry, like that. And then I'm going to have this penguin using up as much as possible. There, get that beak shape, like that. I'm really changing this photo a bit, but hey. So what I'm going to be doing when I'm cutting is I'm going to be cutting out the area that's showing as blue on this block, and that will leave me with raised areas that will be left black. So when it's inked up, we'll get black on these black areas. Okay, I'm having to simplify this a little bit. There we go. Right, that is going to be black. I will take that up a little bit. Okay, and then so this is the edge of the baby penguin, which I will do in some sort of textured black and white, and then this parent penguin has got feet there, starting to look a bit penguiny. Okay, and then we've got the other one here. Right, there's its cheek. And that goes up like this. There's a wing, I think. There's the back. The backs, they're beautiful, aren't they? The way they're bending over their young. Very very caring gesture. There we go. Right. So these bits here, that's going to be a quite easy bit to cut. When I cut that with just cut that out, that's going to cut that crease really nicely. It's really interesting looking at lettering actually. Some fonts that are derived from cut fonts are really interesting to see how their shape. If you ever cut Linocut and try cutting out. Right, and guys, if you want to ask any questions, you're very, very welcome. I will periodically just scroll through. Ah, hello. Hi, Joe. Hi, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining. Right. I'm just doing a Linocut of a baby penguin with its parents. There. Right. And then this, so I'm going to cut out everything on this block except the black. And then, oh, let me just put those, I'm going to use those feet there because they're quite good for showing the feet of the penguin, of the baby penguin. Okay, so I'm going to cut out everything except what's black on here. This is what you might call the key block. And I think it should be, I'm hoping very much to get a print out of this today. And I can cut a little line for the beak as well, hopefully. And then I will take my Stanley knife and I'm just going to cut, so I will ink up now. Sorry, I will then print that onto there and use that then as a template to work out where the colour goes. So let me just see if I can show you on the examples. So that's exactly how I did this. I cut it out, and this one, so you can see there's a kind of black sort of framework, and then I cut the coloured blocks. So that's the way I'm going to be doing it. Oh, hi Mitchell, nice to see you. Oh, you like the lovely to see you. Hi Mitchell. Right, okay, so let me get on with this then. So I'm going to get my cutting tools out there, and put my glasses on. Right, and you can see, if I put that there, then you can see kind of where we're going with this. Right, so there's basically two tools that you use. A V gouge, you can see that one there is a V, hopefully you can see that, and a U gouge, and sometimes it's quite good. I will probably need a slightly more broad U gouge, so I'll show you. This is my box. There's my box of tools, and you get all sorts of widths. So these are two different U gouges. Obviously they're very, very sharp, so this comes with a caution that really as a occupation, it's not something to be done by children without supervision. It's definitely child friendly if you're careful, but you do have to be careful, and the main thing is not to hold it like this and cut like this. You can imagine that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, so just as with drawing, it's a question of starting with the bits you're sure about and moving on to the bits you're less sure about. And just see if I can get a better light on there. Maybe I can get more light on that. No, sorry, I hope you can see that, but it should go lighter as I cut it anyway. Okay, right, so I'm going to start excuse me, by cutting. So I'm cutting out, this is an area that's going to be colour, here, and it'll be blue fading to white. So what it's not going to be is black, and that's why I can cut the black. And I'm trying to suggest, as I'm doing it, the shape of the penguin's neck, because they do actually have, you know, quite a, it's not just a simple curve. I hope this works nice. It might be my biggest live fail. Okay, right, now I'm looking at the profile, so this is a really key distinctive thing, and you can, as you can see, you can turn the block, and or you can move your tool. And I'm not really sure what the advice is, what's best, but that's a really key line there. Right, quick cup of tea. Cheers. Ooh. I reckon that tea is actually slightly warmer than blood temperature, which must be a record. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with this penguin. I'm just going to make sure, because it's really critical to, I think, oh, can you hear the seagulls? Really critical to the success of this, that I get this head shape right. So let's get that round there. And here, get that lovely arch in there. Okay, and feel free to ask any questions, of course. Notice I'm just trying to keep my fingers out of the way. I've got a slight bump along the back, and it's quite nice actually doing it this way, because I've got a little bit of clear space here, which will give me a chance to show the background. And I've got a few little tufts there, so if I cut that like that, I don't know if you can see there, but I've got a couple of sideways cuts, and that will, let me just focus that a little bit more. There, can you see that? Here, and when I print it'll be more obvious. In fact, as soon as I start inking up the block, I'll just show that they are actually feathers on the tail, and so Linocut's really nice for showing things like that. And we've got some also under here. There's a little bit of fluff under the tail. Okay. So these edges don't matter at all because I'm going to clear all that out afterwards. What matters is the border between the dark and the light. There. Okay. Right, now I'm going to cut this this bit here. This is where the wing comes in and over. Okay, so I might actually cut some of this fluff first. I'm going to cut up from here while I've got it turned this way into there, and then that goes, it's got a little square out bit, so I'm not slavishly following the Sharpie. Can you hear those seagulls? It's like they know, isn't it? Okay, and now I'm going to get that, I'm going to go round here, round this. I nearly called it a paw then. I wonder, Mitchell, if you can tell me what sort of penguins these are. They've got lovely flashes of orange at the top. Are they emperor penguins? That would be my guess, but I'm pretty non-penguin literate. Okay, there we go, and let's get this, I'm going to get this beak curved around a tiny bit more, like that. And we've got a very graceful neck too. There. Right, now the chest of the penguin, if I show you the picture, so the chest is going to be white. There's no black line coming here, but this back I'm going to try, hopefully, and do blue. So I'm going to have some blue in between there, which means I'm going to have to cut the colour block around there, and I'm going to probably setting myself up with quite a challenge, but I think it'll be alright. But not if I use the wrong gouge. Where's my glue gone? Right. So one thing that you can do to see what you're doing is just use your Sharpie, and then you can see what you've cut. I can see the shape of that beak better now, and it's not as graceful as the penguin, so I'm going to make it a little bit more a graceful curve there. Yeah. Hopefully that'll work. I don't want it to look like a hook. Okay. And look a bit more of a... Yeah, that is looking a bit hooked, isn't it? Try and get that. Okay. And right, so then we have a little line coming here, so I'm going to carve that down there. So what I can do is take a proof, what's called a proof, which is when you do a first print, and then you can recut. Oh, you do? Oh, wow. I don't know what's involved in sponsoring penguins. Presumably it's for their welfare then. Right. Now I've got a cheek thing. I've got a bit of a V going on here. There we are. Right. I'm going to go for it. And here. And there is okay, hopefully you can see that. Right. So there's the penguin. So I've actually moved the penguin's arm forward a little bit. This is going to be, so when you draw on it like that, then you can see what you've got. Okay, and we've got this shape here, like that, and then I've got this little bit of black here. Okay, and I'm going to cut a line in here for the beak, which hopefully will print very thin and orange or yellow. Will help with that graceful there, and I'll do the same on the other one. So going from here, like this. There we are. Okay. And I'm just going to trust my markings on this one and quickly go around there. Right. Get that lovely graceful curve, the chin. Keep my fingers out of the way. Right, now this one's fin is a little flipper. It's a bit too long in my sketch, so I'm going to bring that up like that, and then we have, again, we've got that lovely arching curve of the black. And then these bits will be quite quick to clear. Right, we've got the... So now I need to get the boundaries of this guy here. And then we go round his or her head. There we are. Right, just clearing that out. And I'm going to... I will rough up this texture a little bit to try and get some sense of fur fluff, and then there's this little stubby beak. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Tell me if there's anything I can do to adjust. Okay, right, and let's get that eye as best I can. It's obviously, as you can see, it's a very small area, but I'm going to do my best to get eyes, you know, expression wise they are utterly critical, and there's quite a distinctive shape there, sort of, there we go, a sort of a diamond shape. Let me just colour that in so you can see. I think that looks, it's slightly larger, but really in the situation I think I'm just going to go with that because it's too small an area to really fuss around with detail. Okay, there's actually a tiny bit of this penguin's other fin showing in the reference photo I'm looking. I'm not quite sure whether to put that in or not. I don't think I will. I think it will make things a bit too complicated. So I'm going to just cut along here. Right, that. I'm just really cutting out the boundaries of the baby penguin now. There we go. And this side. So the baby penguin is really just, you know, just this shape here, just a kind of inverted U, and that's again, that looks like a very characteristic. So Mitch, what is it that you like about penguins then? When did you get into them? When did you start your fascination with them? Wonder what it was, whether you've seen them in real life in their habitat or whether you've seen them in a zoo. I know they've got some in Bristol Zoo. I don't know what will be happening to the penguins when they close the zoo. Right, and then this penguin we have actually, I wonder if I'd be able to show its, I'm going to have a go to see if I could show a little bit the shape of the foot, you know, just make a little suggestion towards the webbed foot. there. And okay, now you've got this tail coming up here, got that there, some little bits of, this is actually further along, she said, hopefully, than it looks. A little bit of fur there, and here's the, essentially I think this is the elbow there. Okay, and that is going, right, let me just colour this in so I can see what I'm doing. That's starting to look vaguely like something that you might see on a colony somewhere. Right, okay, that's, and then this curves, this has got quite a curve to it here. And my tea, I bet my tea's cold. Anyone else got cold tea? Could just learn to love it, really. I did put an order in for some tea. Right, now I'm going to do a little bit of texture on this white penguin, and for that I'm going to treat it a little bit like a soggy rabbit drawing. So you will remember that I'm quite a fan of looking at where the light's coming from. So I'm going to just have a little look at trying to, I'll show you on the drawing, and in a minute we'll be able to print this one. Oh, you've seen them at Torquay? Oh dear. All right. So yeah, well, perhaps it's for the best for these things to go. They're not really designed to be in our country, are they? But I know it's a balance with raising awareness. Okay, so fundamentally we're going to make the light come from this side, and so I'm going to be showing a bit of a, there's a seam there where the penguins, the baby penguin has it, and I'm going to slightly exaggerate the texture on this side, or rather leave lots of light on this side, and it has got a bit of a crease there which I'm going to try and leave as well. Okay, so bearing that in mind then, let's see, this is going to be super rough and probably look a bit weird, but you never know. Okay, so what I'm cutting out now is, I'm going to turn it upside down. This is the light side here, and the cuts are going to be light, and then the rest, what I leave, will print dark. I hope that makes sense. So we want to round the light here, and then leave it slightly darker there. So we've got some light fluff there on the edge of its wing, like that, and some here on its tummy. And then basically I'm looking to make it, I mean it's kind of mid-grey, which means that I want to have about 50-50 light and dark on here, but airing towards lighter on this side, and leaving that line to show the division between the penguin's fin, the baby penguin, and I want to give a sense of fluffy texture like that. And in a second I'll go on it with the alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight on its feet. So sun's coming, light is on this side, so I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a little bit there, just to suggest toes. I think that makes sense. And let's have a look at it this way up. Right. Okay, we need a bit more texture there, so even though it is in the shadow, I don't want that to be completely black, because I want these black areas to be the only completely black bits. Okay. Right, now I'm going to clear out these white bits, and then I will scrub over it with a Sharpie so that I can see. Right, so I'm using the U-gouge now. Hopefully you can see that. And then this is just, you can actually just cut the lino, cut it right out, but in this case it's just a small area. But if you're trying to clear a large area, you can actually just completely make a hole, cut right through, and then it's easier to print. It's not very thick really. Okay, and take that bit out. And that bit. Right, so all these bits here, this is just going to be, I'm going to leave that like that. Oh, well, so actually here's an example. I could just cut this off. So instead of clearing this, I'm just going to cut it like that. There we go. That will just save me worrying about not getting ink on that. So if I just take you over to where I'm going to be printing, I can show you a consideration in that, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I need to make sure that I can line these two blocks up. So this block, so I'm using, because they're small and it's not too critical, I'm using this edge and this edge. So really what I do here, I need to keep this edge for my registration, but up here and this side doesn't matter. And then I can put this one in exactly the same place. Paul, I know you know all about registration with your history of printing. Okay, so let's get back to the cutting. So just clearing out with a U-gouge carefully, not wanting to go into accidentally slip and cut any of the black. So now that's all going to be white or blue. So I've got a large white area here, but I'm going to be distinguishing the penguin's tummy later by making the blue go down here. Hopefully that will make sense when I do it, if not now. Oops, my those fingers. Do as I say, not as I do. This is a really useful thing, a self-healing. Oh, hi Amanda. Sorry, I've just looked over onto Instagram and seen that you've joined. Thank you so much for joining. So I'm doing a lino cut of penguins and just cutting out the first of 2 blocks. Hopefully, if I can get this done. It might take a little bit more than 2 hours, and if it does, I've just proved myself wrong, proved that it's not possible. But I will just keep going until it's finished. So if it takes longer and you're free to watch, you can, or you can catch up on YouTube later. Hope everyone's okay. A lot of sadness around today. Okay. Catching the gestures of those lovely penguins. So this was suggested by Mitch, Phoenix, I think, for Mitch probably, I'm guessing, who's watching on YouTube. And yeah, just really nice to use somebody's idea. Plagiarise, let no one's work evade your eyes. Okay, top tip. Yeah, right, so I'm going to clear right down to there, but I'm leaving that corner intact quite carefully because it's, I'll show you on the white background so you can see, because I need this corner for my registration, so I don't want to completely snap it off if I can. It won't be the end of the world, but it would be good to try and keep that there. So I've got the bottom half there preserved, and then this bit here, let's cut that off. There. Okay, and I've got a little bit of excuse me. Now I can show this penguin's the edge of its there. Get some more light on its tummy on this edge to make it look a little plumper. Bring that edge up a little bit So I'm needing to make sure this is not too dark under there, although it will be in shadow. I'm going to just cheat and make that light, and it'll be white like snow there, because I think when I print the coloured block, I'm going to be doing it white at the bottom and blend in some white. So this can go as well. I can just cut this bit off here because I won't need that for registering. So this is the edge, these two edges, I need to keep those intact for registration. Right, now you can see you get all these little bits, and you have to be quite careful with those because they can really, if they get in the ink, they can cause problems with the printing. Right, so now if I go over this with a Sharpie, you can see a little bit better if I need to cut more out. See the bits that I've missed. Okay, I think that baby penguin is looking fine, but a little bit too dark. So I think we need to cut some more out of that. And I can see that I need to gouge out these bits a bit more. They've got forgotten. So best to do all this if I can before printing, because once I print, it's going to be super messy and I'm going to get dirty hands. So if the closer to correct the print can be, the better. That first proof, and in view of time, I'm probably just not going to do, I'm going to just muddle through. Right. There. Now, do we think this little baby penguin is looking a little too plump? What do you think? I think it needs, probably needs to come out. I'm going to do that edge like that. There we go. That's better. And I'm going to break up a little bit the back of its head just to suggest fluffiness, which you probably can't see now, but hopefully once I do a print it'll be more obvious. I don't want to break its parent's lovely pointy beak. It's very easy to snap bits off by accident. Get those little fluffy. There we are. Oh, hello David, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. How are you doing? Right, now I'm just cutting. I will show you, I'll step back in a second and show people who've just joined the big picture. But basically, I'm suggested by Phoenix for Mitch. I'm doing not just one, but 3 penguins. And just a little family group here. So I'm going to take that there. So it's kind of made up, kind of taken from a photo. I'm going to make these little bits a bit lighter on its back. I think I might have lost the baby penguin's arm. Although maybe not. If I make this lighter here, there we go, that might do it. And a little bit light there to kind of show where the feet, I've got these trying to show its feet. I don't know if that works. Okay, and we've got another arm here. So I will just do a little bit more of a line of, just to try and suggest a bit of shape. And let's get its neck, lovely neck folds. Okay, I keep saying okay. So this method you can use for things like Christmas cards, and it's really nice, and it's fun to cut letters as well, like this. So this one is just about done now, I think, or ready to have a first go at printing. It's exciting. How are we doing? Oh, we've got 1 hour in. Okay, that's probably about on target. Just quickly going over this to make sure there's anything that any early wins before I go in with I think that's all right. Okay, so now time to do some inking. Quick cup of tea. Right, so I will take you onto the inking screen, right here. So I'm going to be I've got two areas here. Let me do that a bit wider. Right, this is all going to go horribly wrong when I try and cut the second block because I'm going to run out of space, but I think we'll be okay. So my aim is to ink here and print here. So I'm going to be inking in black to get this first black block printed. I'm inking on, I've got a lovely glass desk here, so that's just perfect. I do like things that are easy, and because I'm going to be putting the block here, I'm going to get a piece of paper ready. I'll just show you how I'm doing that first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this paper here, and I can do that then, so I can lift it up. And if I tape it there, then the paper will always be in the same place until the second print is done. Now, in fact, for this first print, I'm just going to use some masking tape. For this first print, I will be trying to transfer the image onto the other block, which is a bit tricky, especially when the block's not that clean, and may or may not work. But after that, I'm going to be using the same method to do to print the multiple blocks. Okay, so I'm going to move that down there so you can see. And here is my ink. So I'm using lamp black. I tend to use these in Taglio. That means for things like they're designed for things like Linocut. Right, this is super messy. This is not the sort of occupation to do if you're OCD about mess. Luckily, I am whatever the opposite is. I'm actually, I think, drawn to it. So this is a really grubby lid. So it's really good when you're printing to have bits of paper like these, like those. So I've got a load of bits of paper like that, and you can use them for picking up your paper. So when your hands get dirty, you can pick up paper with them. So I'm going to do that. I'll just keep that there for now, so you can see where we're going. And I'll put this lid out of the way because we don't need to see that. Right. So and the other thing that I do, top tip, is I use pencils or brushes to stir and dollop because they're very easy to clean off afterwards. Okay, so it's lovely and gloopy. And actually, I might do my black inking up here above I'm going to do it up there, just there. Make sure I've got no dust. And luckily, because this is so small, I won't need very much. Okay. And so to ink, there you go. So when you're inking, you roll, and I tend to roll and let it roll. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thank you, Paul. Oh, thanks, Tammy. Lovely. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Right. Yes, this registration I'm the queen of shortcuts. So there we go. I'm just literally getting a nice, even, thin. It's got a lovely sound to it. I love that sound. Okay. Let me just turn the music off so you can hear the sound just for 1 second. Right, you ready? I'm going to move my microphone down here. Can you hear this? It's lovely, isn't it? Right, now I don't know if you can see, it's kind of glistening. So there's there's a knack to getting the right amount of ink, and it kind of depends on how you're printing. But for this one, I do want quite a lot of ink because this time what I'm doing is I'm trying to transfer the image from one to the other. So I hope this will work, and if this goes wrong, then it's we're in loads of trouble. Okay, so let's go down to the inking area. There we are. Right, so when you put these down, they've got one side is hard like that, so you can put them down like that, which is quite handy. Probably best not to ink your block where you're printing in case you get a mess. So I'm just going to wipe the block, make sure I've got as much Sharpie off as possible, and tap it. You tend to get tiny little flecks of lino, and then they get caught and they make the flat top surface uneven, and that's a bit of a pain. So okay, there we go. Right, so I'm going to ink this up pretty thickly. It's quite good to have these rollers that are bigger than your area, although I just have a collection of really rubbish rollers. I need to get some better rollers. My rollers are not good. Okay, there we are. Right, so that is, I think you might be able to see, can you see that there? Let me put the music back on. Okay, so it's kind of glistening. I'm going to put a little bit more on because this one is not for printing on paper. What I'm going to try and do with this one is print it on the paper and then reprint from the paper onto the other block, so that then I've got a template to use. I'm sure there are much more professional ways of doing this. Here we go. Usually I do this on tracing paper as well, because that's not that is more shiny, so the ink comes off, but I forgot to get any ready, so I'm going to try doing it like this. Okay, so the main thing is to make sure that that corner is right down hard against, I've got a raised area that I've made with several pieces of masking tape here. Okay, so we've got the corner there, and my paper is attached at the top, like that. Let me just line that up. Okay, there. Right, so there's my inked up block, and this is what you might call a key block, and it's so small I can just do this with my hands. And so what I'm doing is a first print onto a paper, which I will then print back straight onto the other block and use that as to register the colour block. And then I will just make some simple marks on the colour block. Okay, there we go. Right, let's get this one in. Make sure it fits nicely. Yep. Okay. Maybe, which side is there? This is better. Okay, and then I'm going to put this straight down onto the colour block. And I'm transferring the image, I hope, which is still wet on the paper. Now the thing that I'm probably going to mess up on here is that the background, I will print the background first when it comes to it. Right, let's see, you can just have a little, you can keep your paper, oh yeah, you can keep your paper anchored down and just lift it for a peek. There we go, okay. So there's the image now. Can you see that? Just, it's not perfect, but it's enough that then I can see what I'm doing when I'm cutting. So let's go back to the cutting board now. Here, come up a little bit, and let's look at where we're going with this. So, right guys, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm really happy to answer anything. So we've got, so here's the sketch. I'll put that at the side like that. And there we go. I'm going to move that up a bit. there. Right, so we have, there's the sketch, there's the key block, but now that's cut, and now this is the colour block. So this is where I have to do some careful planning. So I'm going to be cutting some areas out of this. So some of the black I actually might just cut out because I'm going to be printing, I want it to be nice pure black. And if I print a colour on it, it might dilute the black. So, but I will do that later. So I'm just trying to look at how I divide this block up. And the first thing I need to do is cut out anything that I want to be white. So I'm going to cut out the penguins' tummies because they need to be white. And also the background at the bottom, I could do it white, or I might just do it as a fade when I'm doing the inking. I think I might just, I'm going to do that white actually, that would be easier. So I need to keep an eye on shadows. So I'm going to ink this back bit in blue. So I'm going to go in first. This is quite tricky, this bit. You have a hickey. Oh, so people who aren't on YouTube haven't managed to get, I thought I'd managed to get my chat box working so that people's chat came up, but I haven't. Sorry, Paul. But Paul is saying this is what this method of registration is like what offset litho printers call a hickey. And you get bits in the plate, or oh right, that's those, yeah, those tiny little bits, and they're really annoying. Right, so I'm just looking at this thinking I'm going to go for the easy wins, which is the whites. So that is showing the tummy of the penguin, and I'm going to leave, so I need to grade some of that with orange and white here. So this is going to be very light anyway. I'm going to have a bit of orange and white there, oh, sorry, orange and yellow here for the bit of the penguin. So let's see. Now I'm going to leave this area because that's going to be blue. Might just get my pencil to remind myself. So I want to be, basically I want to cut the penguin's thigh there and its tummy here to show its neck there, and then I want to leave some of this so that I can grade in. This is quite, I just need to concentrate with this bit because, and there's the back of its toe. Okay, so going in. Right, so I'm going to go in here. This bit here is going to be white. And then this is basically the penguin's fluffy trousers. And this is where you can get a bit lost. And I probably will get a bit lost. And then you basically, it's not till you do the print that you realise where you were at with it. So I'm basically just cutting the boundary, and then I'm going to clear this out. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to do any yellow down here. I'm just going to do a little bit of yellow and orange here. And I'm going to leave this bit white. So I need to cut the penguin's chest going in the direction of the fur. I think this is making sense. Like that. And I'm actually going to clear all this out. This is going to be black. So, but this bit here is going to be blue. That's this bit here. Move that into the light of it so you can see. So I'm going to cut the edge of the penguin here, and everywhere that it is that I want black. I'm just going to clean that out because then it will be a pure black as it prints. Hope that makes sense. And we might get some little glimmers of white, which wouldn't go amiss. It would be like it was slightly backlit or something where I cut into the background. Okay, hope this is making sense. guys. Do tell me or ask questions if not. Okay, and then so this is the penguin's beak here. I've got this little line here, which it is strictly speaking orange. So if I inked that up in orange, that would be alright. Okay. Those are hickeys, aren't they? I now know. Right, and then the baby penguin it's going to be definitely white. So let's see, take this for reference. So it comes down here. Right, so this edge of the baby penguin I need to be all out. Ooh, must be very careful with my fingers. There. Right, now the baby penguin has no colour on it at all. So I can actually just cut the whole of the baby penguin out, like that. There. And it's got a lovely bulgy chin there, so that will bring that out. And there we go, this is it's that. So that is going to really show now the texture of the fur on the baby penguin. And so this bit here could be blue, so I'm going to leave that. We've got a bit of black penguin foot there coming out. And once I've done this, then I can start cutting this block with the Stanley knife, and I'm going to divide it essentially into warms and cools as I cut it. The cools being the background and the warms being the orange and yellow. Right, let me do this other penguin. So I need to do the same job on the other penguin. So this other penguin, I'm going to do it like its tummy from here. So let's go there, tummy, and I'm going to make a little line here. Ooh. Moving dangerously. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just cutting out the edge of the penguin here. So I'm cutting along its back, and I'm going to clear out this black area so that it prints pure black when I'm doing the two colour print. Put that there so you can see. Okay, and there's its tail, like that. And right, now it's got a little bit of blue. Right, so we need to show, this is the back of its trouser, like that. It's very like drawing like ink, in that you with Linocut you can repair them, but it's not really worth it. You might as well just go with it, start again. Okay. So, and then the penguins, I'm just going to lose that little bit there because I want to make sure that prints really black on its cheek there, and it helps me work out where they are. Yeah. Okay, so I've got the cheeks delineated, and now I'm going to gouge out the middle of the penguin, so I need a larger gouge. Okay, I'll just have a quick look to see if there's anyone chatting on Instagram. So as I said before, don't hesitate to ask if you've got any questions. I'm really happy to answer. There we go. Okay, so I'm cutting out the light block here, and I'm going to have to do those bits of colour here, these flashes, very, very subtly. I'm actually going to have to do some feathering there. Hope they work. Right, and then let's clear this, my wide gouge, so that'll make it nice and flat, which means it won't pick up any of the dark paint or the dark ink. And there, and off with its head. There. There's a little area here which I've got, which is kind of in front of the penguin's chin, which I'm going to try and leave blue. But all that is going to be white, so I can cut that out, and I can cut out the penguin's body on this block because I've got this block here which will have the black. So the baby penguin is completely black and white with no colour, and the other two are almost all black and white. There. Let's get that cut. Cutting towards my hand there, very dangerous. Okay, so this here is all black and white on the penguin. And there, apart from I'm going to have a little bit of faded colour in there. So I can cut all that out. Sometimes you get a bit of an accidental chunk. So remember that what I'm cutting here is the pale background block. So it's not going to make a lot of marks. Now I'm just going to use my V-gouge to break up where this is where the red will hit the yellow. Yeah, it will make sense in a minute when I'm printing. Right. Okay, I'm just going to clear out the back of this penguin here. That's this penguin. And one of the nice things about printing is the fact that usually it ends up the other way round depending on what method you're using. So that's quite a nice feature. Right, so I'm just having a little sense check here, making sure. So I've got, you can see I've cut out, I've reserved the cheeks of the penguin because I want them to be dark black. Here's the other block there. I hope that you can see that. That makes sense. And so now I'm going to go and break this block up into parts. This one here, using a knife. So what I'm basically breaking it up into is the little bits which will be the penguin's orange and red bits, and then the rest. And the rest will all be printed in blue. So let's go for it. Hope this will work. Right, now it's coming down here and here. So this is all right. So I need to go along the back of the penguin like this. Right, that is all blue. Right, and I'm hoping to get a little bit of red on the penguin's beak. I don't know if that's going to work. Right, so I'm going to, it's like a jigsaw puzzle then. So I've got this bit here, which I will ink up in red. This is totally mad, but it will fit together then. Does this make sense? Let's try and ease it apart. It looks clumsy, but I'm hoping once it's done it'll be okay. Right, so that bit there, that nub, that is the penguin's head, and that is going to be inked up in yellow and red. And then I do the same on this bit. So I'm just looking for the areas. Oh, there goes my light. My light gets a bit tired after a while. Right, so I'm looking at the areas which I want to be red. So this penguin's beak is that. Okay, so I need to go. So this bit here I want to be blue. Right. having to press quite hard to make sure it goes okay, make sure it goes right the way through, because I'm basically turning it into a jigsaw. See if I can, okay, there we go. So I'm just trying to split out the bit to print with red there, and there we go. Right, let's see if that'll do. There. Okay, so you can see there I've split out, and that bit I'm just going to do a fade, hopefully a red and yellow fade, and I can actually just twist it and break it out. I'll try and cut it, because it needs to then, once it's inked, I need to put it back together again. Okay, so we have one there, one there. So now I've got, for printing, I've got those two and that bit there. There. Right. So what I haven't got is a bit of, excuse me, I just need to clean off these. There. Luckily it's water-based ink. And I'm just going to clean them off because they need to be inked, and I don't want any grubbiness. It needs to be quite clean for the blue, because it's meant to be ice or snow or something. So I just get those bits of ink off like that, and then the last thing I'm going to do before I print it is I'm just going to cut a little bit of texture for here, for these bits here. So this is just showing on the background, just kind of trying to hint at the fact that there might be bits of like ice and stuff in here behind them. So just to give them a little bit of a context. There and here, just to rough it up a tiny bit, there and here. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, we're all right, got half an hour. So I'll get at least one print out of this then. Right, let's zoom in a bit so you can see. So this is the hope of where we're going. This is the jigsaw pieces of the coloured block. So this block goes in here. So when I've inked it, I'm going to try and put that block in there, and that block will go in there. Okay, so as well as the black, I'm going to have to ink up now a little patch in, I've got a little bit of hickeys there. Okay, and here, I've got some little bits of, it's not very clean. And I want that surface to be really smooth. Okay, so this is the coloured block here. There is the another part. This is the bit that's going to be warm. This bit will be cool, and this bit will be black. So I need to ink up. I'm going to have a little clear up for a second. I'm just going to show you there. If I put that on the examples, then you can see, and I can take this one off. So that's my black block printed there. So you can see the examples while I just have a little clear. So these were all printed using the same method, but clearly taking rather longer and doing it more carefully. Okay, so let's, if I touch that it'll come into focus. That's a bit of an awkward one. Right. Now let's go back to the inking up area. Okay, so we've got I've got two rollers, so I'm going to use the wider roller for the blue and this little one for the yellow and red. So I've got some some Aqua yellow there. Move that up a little bit so you can see more. Okay, so I'm using Aqua yellow there, which I'm going to stir again with a pencil. So I just use the end of a pencil, stir it round, and then that will be easy to clean later, it being non-absorbent. Right, so I'm going to make a tiny little reservoir of yellow there. I think you can just see that, and I won't be needing that again, I don't think. And then I've got my red, it's orange rather than red, so that's from a tube, and as long as it's all water-based, this is really old, I just keep this in my, there. So that's a little reservoir of orange there. It's like a palette really. And actually what you can do with Linocuts is you can buy block printing medium to mix with oil paints, so you can actually use oil paints for your colours. That's quite a nice thing to do. Right, so these two here, I'm just going to have to keep an eye on where I want the red, and I'm not sure this is going to be as subtle as it could be. We'll see. I'm wondering about putting a tiny bit of white in there as well. I think I might, because I don't want them too bright. Okay, now this white looks gross, but it's alright when you stir it around. It's just separated a tiny bit because it's been standing. There we go. Okay, that white's quite thick. So I'm just going to put that white across there and see if I can use it. It might help with some of the blending. Right, that's that. Oh, I'm definitely going to need the white for the blue to mix in with the blue, because this blue is extremely dark. It's lovely. It's a real kind of indigo colour, almost black. Right, you can see that's absolutely lovely. So I'm going to ink those ones up there. Then this will be my blue inking area. Lucky this is all water-based, isn't it? Otherwise I've been a right pickle trying to clear all this up afterwards. So I'm just getting enough of the blue, so I do need to get a decent coating on the roller, even though I'm only printing a very, very small block. And this blue is definitely going to be faded out with some white. So let's put that white in. There. It might be a fade, or it might just be as it is. Okay, hopefully now. So we've got the black roller by the black ink. Pair of really dirty hands. The blue. This is a nice roller. This is nice and even. Okay, so I need to first, before I get any ink on the blocks, I need to get that paper ready. So here we go. Hello guys on Instagram. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Jenna and Drawing 6999. I'm just printing a penguin in 2 blocks. So I've just nearly got to the exciting bit, the moment of truth. So there's that paper up like that. I might have to just tape it down to make sure it doesn't go in the black ink, because I'm a bit pressed for space here. Right, there we go. If I move this up even more, you can see the arrangement. Okay, so we've got black ink there, some warms here, a blue and white here. I've got a block. I've basically got 2 blocks. I've got a key block in black, that's here, which I've already printed like that. And then I've got a colour block which I haven't yet printed, which I'm going to print in pale blue as a background. And then I've got 2 little blocks for the head where I'm just going to do some pale faded. I have no idea if that'll work or not. so they will fit like that, hopefully. Okay, are we ready? This is Living Dangerously. Okay, I'm going to turn that cafe music off so you can hear the delicious sound of the inking of the roller. Right, I'll take it right in. There we go. You can see it's actually a lovely blue. And see if my light's cooled down, I can turn. It's a really lovely indigo blue, which I'm hoping is going to speak of ice caps and things. Okay, so you can see, oh, I've got that not very, so my old roller is a bit uneven, but I'll just do my best to get an even colour. There we go. And I'm going to roll it onto here. There we go. So if I put a piece of, right, let's just go for it. Make sure I've got no little bits on, no dust. And just print that. So I'm going to do it darker at the top, like the sky, lighter at the bottom. No idea if this is going to work. Might be a total disaster. There. Okay, so that's the, this is the background blue block there. So you can see that's inked up ready. So I can put this roller out of the way. And now I'm going to ink up these two bits here. So looking at the picture, I basically need the red here and here. So if I was to do them like that and make it red, orange fading to yellow. So let's get the orange and yellow on the brush, on the roller. First of all, this is probably going to be a disaster, but you never know. Now it's a very small area that I'm inking, so I may not even get any fade, but we'll see, it might work. And I'm going to line them up like that and hope for the best. Let's see how it... Right, now this is where it quite helps to have a bit of stray lino for the roller to roll, because they're so small they're not really turning the roller. So if I have another bit of lino next to them, that makes enough friction with the roller to turn the roller. There we go. They're not looking very yellow, a bit of orangey. Oh, and that bit's stuck. Get that off. Right, I might just do it by hand here. I just want to get a bit of yellow on there. And so that's going down the beak there. So red on there. We'll see. I don't know if that's going to work. But fortune favours the brave. So now I'm going to be putting this jigsaw puzzle back together. So this is my coloured block. Probably need tweezers really for this. This is that penguin's head, I think. Yep. So that's going to go in there like that. I'm going to use a tool to push it in there. Okay, so that's that penguin's face in. Okay, and then this one here is probably going to be easier because it's bigger. So these are what I'm doing here is I've just inked up a sort of jigsaw puzzle of a block. There. I'm just pushing it in so it lays flat before I print it. Right, and I can see I've got a tiny bit of ink in there, so I'm just going to just wipe that ink. And I've got a little bit there. I think I might just cut that off there. I've got an unwanted ink area there. Get that off with its head. Right, so there's the colour block, which is going to look a bit strange, but I'm going to move it over now to my printing area. Okay, and pop that, make sure it's hard up against the corner on those two edges. Now, lift that up. Okay. So I'm just pulling my paper gently to make sure it hits at a good spot. And then this is called burnishing when you do this. I'll put the music back on. Do you like my French music? I thought it would be nice to have a bit of a French theme today. I've been looking at music for streaming. So just gently rubbing the back, and traditionally you use the back of a wooden spoon or something called a baron. So you can, sometimes I use the bottom of a jam jar or something. So I'm just gently rubbing to transfer the ink onto the paper. Making sure, sometimes I sort of track around the edges, and we can have a peek in a second just to see. So let's just lift that up a tiny bit and see how it's printed. Oh yes, it's printing nice and evenly. That looks all right. Okay, so that's printed quite nicely there. So I can move that out. I'm going to put this back. Just going to anchor that down like that again. Right, and let's put a bit of ink, more ink on that black block. It's exciting, isn't it? So at this point, really, I should let that dry. So it might not take particularly well. You can see that's nice and oily, although it is actually water. It's great. It's so easy to wash as well. I really like these inks, but for layering, really, you should. The thing about them is they dry on paper, but they don't dry on anything else. So you can actually, if you're working late, you can leave your ink stations like that overnight, and they'll be fine. They'll still be wet in the morning, I find. Okay, but the downside is that they don't take terribly well on top of existing wet. Right, and I've got a couple of little bits here that I need to lift off. There's one. Just get those stray bits of colour that will distort the image, and there's one here. Hickey. Good to know that word. Thank you, Paul. Okay, right, this is exciting, isn't it? I find this really exciting. 15 minutes to spare. I reckon we're going to have a problem with this. I predict that this is going to be a little problem here. There. But I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's get that lined up. Right. And loosen the paper. Hope that the registration has worked. Get those. This is so now I'm printing the key block. I'm printing the black. So I'm particularly, when I'm rubbing, I'm paying attention. I don't know if you can see there. If you can see through it, to the areas where the black is. And what you can do is you can very carefully peel it back, and you can re-ink in areas where it hasn't taken if you have a problem area. So say the ink hasn't transferred properly, but it looks as though it's coming through. I can see, you can see as you're burnishing, you can see the trace of the image starting to come. There. Right, moment of truth. Da da da. Let's go in. Are you ready? Oh, there we are. Okay. Let's peel that off. there is our print of our penguins. So at this point I can do a bit of fine tuning. So I would probably cut out the white on the top of the penguin's head. Let's have a look. Yeah, so I might cut out, it is actually black, but I'm probably going to cut that out there from the, so that's on this blue block, so I'm just looking now at the, there we go, for comparison. I think the baby penguin is a bit crude, but there's not much I can do with that. Well, I probably could actually cut away at the black block to make the baby penguin's beak a little bit simpler, but I think the main thing is the back of that penguin there, just to get the curve over. And apart from that, you know, considering the size of them, I think that's not too bad. I wonder what you think. Wonder if anyone's still watching. Or if I've sent you all to sleep. Okay, so I might just come onto chat now and just see if there's any chatting to be had, and if there isn't, I'll just do another print. Okay, so let's have a look. Right, and I'm going to go on to Instagram chat too, so I can see you. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. So this is the print. I'll show it there for the people in Instagram. There you are. So I've just printed these penguins, a little group of 3 penguins. It's only about 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 centimeters. The block is about 6 centimeters by 5, or maybe 7 by 5, and it's using 3 blocks there. I'll show you that. Let's move that onto the there. So there's our final version. So yeah, I might just cut out some of this yellow as well. I think that's probably not great there. That hasn't worked on the chin. So what I can do is I can adjust it on this block while we chat. So I don't know what you think, guys, whether that was interesting, whether you've got any tips. You've probably got some registration tips for me. And I might just cut under that penguin's chin. So just trying to do it to cut out that yellow. I don't think that yellow really works. So I'm going to extend the penguin's chest while it's here. Do this. Where can I do? Oh, I can do that here. You can see that. I forgot you could see that. There we are. Let's just cut out that there. I'm going to make it all into white. So that'll go into the penguin's chest area, and then it won't look quite such a mucky bit. And that's that. So there's the head. And the other bit was the top of the other penguin, so that's this bit here. Just get my glasses on. Oh, hello Robin, thanks so much for joining. Robin, I'm literally just at the end. Let me show you where we got to. There is, so it's this. So I've basically just been demonstrating inking up the Paul's son. So Paul's son Phoenix suggested at the beginning a penguin. So we've been doing, I've made a little jigsaw puzzle for the back block, and then this is the key block. And you can see, and there's the finished print. So I'm just doing a last bit of tidying up, and Paul has said he's going to have to watch this back later. Yes, it is. It is another thing you should try, Paul. I think they should. I'm sure at your tender age, you should be allowed sharp tools, and I'm sure they'd be very happy to tend to your needs and disinfect you and patch you up if you had any injury. But you do need to be careful, because obviously these are really, really sharp. And then I'll just zoom out. Let's go on to this one here. So there you are. There's the full messy truth of it. here's the, I think I won't do another cut now, but there's the, so we've got ink, we've got a black roller, a coloured roller, and the blue, there's the blue roller as well. So I hope that that has proved. I might just try and do one more while I finish off, but if anyone's got any questions, I hope I've convinced you that it's really not that difficult, and obviously you can start with one. There we go. So I'm just going to cut. I can see, remembering that these are the other way around, so you can see my image there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut on the blue block. I just want to cut that area there to show the shape of the back of the penguin, because I haven't quite caught it. So let's just trace that here like that. So I'm cutting into the blue area, and then when I print you will have a sense of the back of the penguin's head, hopefully getting that lovely graceful arch. And let me just, I'm going to refine very slightly the baby penguin's head. It looks, to me, that beak looks just a tiny bit long. I think we need to come in here like that, there and down. That looks a little bit better. Looked, yeah, didn't look quite the cute penguin that you might expect. Right, so there we go. So now we've got a little bit more white on the back of the penguin. I'm going to do another quick print because I've got all the ink ready. So I'll show you my printing process one more time. It will be quicker this time because I've got all the inks sorted. Let's go to the inking up area. There we are. So you can see I've got blue and orange already on my roller. So that's for the two head bits of the jigsaw puzzle. I'll just pop that out. And there's the blue area. So let's see if we can get a better print this time. So I've got a nice fade here. Going to get this out of the way. Let's ink up that blue. So I print the light one first. So the background, basically, the lighter background block, and then I print the key block on top. I'm just going to ink that up in a blue fade. Dark at the top, just like sky goes. Okay. I'm going to get my piece of paper ready to print onto. Before I put the blocks down, let's wipe that off, get that nice and clean. Okay, so I'm just going to tape my paper. I'll tape it a little bit closer to the block so that it's easier for registration. And now with the red and yellow, I'm just going to ink up the heads here. So I use this block here just to get a bit of friction for the roller. There we go. Right, let's see how that works. A bit of ink on here, because without any friction the roller just doesn't turn. This is just the flash of colour on the penguins' heads. Just trying to get that beautiful characteristic there. I'm reliably informed they're emperor penguins. Thank you, Mitch. There. And then they go into this block like jigsaw puzzle pieces. And this block will be printed first, and then the black will be printed over the top. So that bit goes in here. And just try and nudge them in without disturbing the inked up blue bits. Yeah, press them so that they're level. I wonder if I've got some. There we go. Right, I'll show you those. So there is the first block inked up, ready. You can see it's wet. So now I put that here. Should finish bang on 6, I think. Okay, so it's nicely aligned onto my registration. I really like printing these, you know, this is what I'd call proof printing. It's not really any big shakes, but I really like printing on printer paper. It's nice and smooth, it's thin. Japanese papers are wonderful. They're lovely, they're strong and smooth, and they give a great effect. Okay, that should be just about ready. There we are. So you can see there's the background. And then let's ink up this black one. So as I mentioned before, the problem with inking up with printing layers is normally you would let them dry and print the second layer, but you can see I've got quite a nice sheen, a nice even coat on there, and I'm just going to roll it onto my penguin block, onto my, what you could call a key block. So there are several different ways that you can print in multicolours, and the other way is called reduction printing, and that's also really fun, but that is a totally different principle basically. I'll just wipe that off. Okay, so there's that. You can see that's nice and wet. Move it over here, plug it into the corner there, and now I've got a tiny bit of ink just there which I want to stop printing, so I might just mask it off with a piece of clean paper just to save going and delaying us with a load of wiping. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, there we are. Right, moment of truth. So now I'm rubbing particularly in the areas where I want the black to print, because that's where the ink is on this block that has just been inked. So we've got, there's the baby penguin's face. You can just see, you can see it start to come through the back of the paper, so you can kind of see how you're doing. But really the joy of printing is the excitement of never quite knowing how it's going, never quite knowing what it's going to look like until you open it up. Okay, ready? Oh, there we are. They look a little bit more convincing, I think. Definitely worth doing a second time. There. So, I hope that I have convinced you that it's fun and possible to print with the process that there may be slight. Yes, you're right, Paul. Yes, it is. So you're absolutely right that no two are the same, and that's part of doing the you know, an artist print. So obviously in some situations printing, the idea is, oh, hello Edison Artworks, thanks so much for joining on Instagram. The variations are, in this situation, I think they are an attraction, but in some situations they would be, you'd want them to be consistent. So, but yeah, it's a nice thing. And then you can edition it but in this situation I would call it an artist proof. So that's an AP. Paul, would you like to give it a name? It needs to be a name that's small enough that I can write it in there. So I would typically, when you're let me just make sure. Okay, so this is what would be called an AP, or in French it's an épreuve artiste, so an artist proof, and then the signature goes there. So I need a very short, title. What do you reckon to put in there? And if you're on Instagram, if you're watching on Instagram and you want to suggest a title, or on Twitch, I can see you. So don't hesitate to say, and if not, I might think of one myself. What can we call that? And sign it. If I sign it with initials rather than my name, that leaves a little bit more space. Maybe I'll wait and see. But there we go. I'll give you a minute, Paul, to see if you've thought of anything. And meanwhile, look at this. Look at all that mess. But that will soon be cleared up because they're great, these inks. They are all water-based, and I wouldn't assume they're non-toxic, but you know, I find them fantastic for printing. Percy and family. Percy and family. Okay. How am I going to fit that on there, Paul? That's too long. Hello. Oh, here comes the tea. Thank you very much.
There you go.
His man of dreams. Right, so maybe I should just call it family. Should I just call it family? Would that be okay? What do you think? Or famille, the French. I think family will do. I'm gonna go for that, Paul. I'm imagining it's 6:05. I've overrun. You might have decided you've got better things to do. Right, so I'm gonna call that family. So let me just check how my pencil's coming out. Right. There we are. Okay, all done. So I will say cheers. Thank you so much for joining. And let me move it to the final. There we are. And I'll just fade out on that. So thank you. It's really lovely to see you. I hope you have a great weekend and what's left of it. And I'm going to go and finish wrapping stuff up to take to the gallery. Leave you with Percy and family. Okay, take care and I can't wait. Oh, perfect. Well, thank you. Well, I can't wait to see when you have a go. And let me know if you need a bit of lino. They're any art shop will have plenty of this blue synthetic lino. It's really cheap. And you can get, kits of block printing ink. Again, you can get them in Bristol Fine Art or other, main art suppliers. But they're not very expensive, and it's really fun. So yeah, start with one colour and then just keep it simple. That's the thing. Just plan it first, keep it simple, and have fun. Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing what you do next. It's always exciting, and all these things, like Linocut, it all works towards your drawing. It really helps your drawing, flipping it over and all those sort of things. Okay, right, take care. I'm going to leave you now. See you. Bye. Goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for joining.